Hello everyone, Joel here. The back half of 2026 is about to drop a tactical nuke directly onto our wallets and whatever is left of our sleep schedules. The sheer volume of turn-based mastery, soul-crushing action, and tactical brain melters arriving in the coming months is honestly offensive to my free time. So pray to the gods and let's dive into the absolute madness coming our way. Dropping August 20th, this standalone sequel does what every good follow-up should. Keeps the crushing difficulty but dials up the sheer dark fantasy chaos. Stamina bars is gone and replaced with a completely unhinged execution system that lets you live out your most chaotic power fantasies. You're possessing up to 8 different dead warriors this time, because apparently finding your own body is just too mainstream. While the new interconnected open world can feel a bit overwhelming compared to the compact original, the sheer brutality of pairing your way through 60+ dungeons makes it an absolute must-play for masochists everywhere. If you've ever wanted to feel like the main character in a wuxia film, Phantom Blade Zero drops September 9th. It's been teased forever, but the wait was totally worth it. The martial arts combat is so blindingly fast it makes Sekiro look like a turn-based strategy game. You're diving deep into Chinese heroism and lore, pairing blades with the swagger only a doomed assassin can pull off. Sure, the world can feel a bit gloomy and monochromatic, but the absolute spectacle of the boss fights easily carries it. Prepare to memorize attack patterns until your eyes literally cross.
Better watch out. I won't last long without cover.
Hitting early access in November, if you looked at Warhammer Vermintide and thought it needs more loot drops and shifting realities, Deep Interactive has your back. The world is governed by the cycle, meaning dungeons literally rearrange themselves just to mess with you. The fast-paced melee and magic combo feels incredibly satisfying, especially when you bring a buddy along in co-op to share the inevitable deaths. While early access means we might see a few janky animations or weird bugs, the loot-driven progression loop is going to be dangerously addictive.
Then go with caution. That place has already taken enough from us.
Oh, you do know.
It's a viral resonance, spreads rapidly, takes over.
Remedy is back on September 24th, and this time we're playing as Dylan Faden. He's traded the pure third-person shooter mechanics of the first game for some heavy melee action RPG goodness. You get a shape-shifting weapon called the Aberrant, unleashing absolute havoc in a corrupted Manhattan. The shift to a more open-ended format is bold. And while purists might miss the pure shooter vibes, smashing extra-dimensional entities with a giant concrete block never gets old. Just try not to get entirely lost in the lore menus. We all know Remedy loves their confusing, highly redacted government documents. If you prefer your weirdness with a side of historical fiction, check this out on October 13th. Imagine Napoleon's army is back but they're all undead monsters, and you are a British soldier resurrected to clean up the mess with first-person Souls-like combat. The magic transmutation system adds some much-needed flair to the cutlass swinging. The difficulty curve might feel like getting kicked by a horse early on, and losing your catalyst on death will definitely induce rage quits, but the sheer aesthetic of an alternate 19th century zombie war is simply too good to pass up. Before we go into the list, I want to give you my recommendation for some of the best deals in instant gaming right now, especially if you're tight on budget. We knew that instant gaming always give us so many crazy deals for your favorite games, like these titles for example. I mean, can you believe these prices? If you love RPGs, there's no way you never heard of these masterpieces, and to think that you can get them under $10 or even $5, it's an absolute steal. All you have to do is just click my link in the description below, start searching for your favorite games and use the activation code on your chosen platform. By using my link, you're not only saving tons of money, but also helping me to support this channel. Alright then, let's get back into the list.
What if Final Fantasy
Arriving on October 22nd, this is the HD 2D turn-based Final Fantasy game we have literally been begging Square Enix to make for a decade. It blends gorgeous modern pixel art with dynamic camera angles that make classic turn-based combat feel entirely fresh again. You can even summon legendary heroes from past games as visions, while relying heavily on franchise nostalgia might feel like a safe play, and random encounters can still be a slight drag. Seeing classic spells rendered in HD 2D is visual poetry. It's basically a warm, pixelated hug for your inner 90s JRPG kid.
But the more one uses them, the more they transform into a brutal.
From pixelated hugs to getting repeatedly suplexed by tragic bosses, this one will drop at the end of July. It boasts 80 tough bosses twisted by curses and starvation. The stamina system is strictly for defense here, meaning your offense is a completely fluid, cost-free dance of destruction. Collecting the 70 unique relics to alter your playstyle gives you insane build variety. Some of the environments can feel a bit standard apocalyptic ruin, but when you're fighting for your life against a giant cursed monstrosity, you won't really care about the peeling wallpaper in the background. Let's talk about the giant syndicate thug in the room. Even in late 2026, this absolute juggernaut refuses to slow down. With the massive new updates rolling out, the base building and pal catching loop is deeper than ever. People still joke about it being Pokemon with guns, but the RPG mechanics and tech trees have evolved into something genuinely robust. The AI pathing for your base workers is still occasionally hilariously broken, like seeing a Lamball stuck on a roof is a rite of passage, but the chaotic fun of taking down raid bosses with armed critters keeps us coming back. Dropping August 26 for the tactical RPG purists. We are talking old-school hex-based strategy where you manage monsters, strongholds, and frontline commanders across 6 massive campaigns. It's the kind of slow-burn, brain-melting tactical gameplay that modern studios rarely make anymore. The menus can be intimidating enough to require a college degree at first glance, and the pacing is definitely a slow crawl. However, once the grid-based combat clicks in your brain, it's absolute digital crack. Playing through 24 different factions in mission mode means you'll be staring at hex grids long after the sun goes down. If you're ready for round 2, this massive expansion launches on October 9th, and yes, they actually reused the Dark Arisen name. We are heading to the snowy, long-abandoned Norgan region. They are introducing Lost Rites with 12 grueling new dungeon challenges and some incredibly powerful relic weapons to hunt. We'll see if the frame rate still dips when a griffin crash lands on your head, but the emergent chaos of this engine remains unmatched. It's the perfect excuse to throw your pawn off a cliff and start fresh. Konami is actually doing it. Arriving October 15th, they're releasing a brand new 2D entry developed by the absolute chads at Evil Empire. We're taking Rose Belmont through a demonic 1499 Paris, whipping candelabras and swinging across chasms like a medieval Spider-Man. Devs promise a huge, interconnected map practically begging to be sequence broken. Some late-game bosses shown in deep dives border on cheap bullet hells, but the fluid movement and return to true Symphony of the Night style exploration make this a literal dream come true. Game Freak is stepping outside their comfort zone with this action RPG in early August. Set in a Studio Ghibli-inspired post-apocalyptic Japan, we'll play as Emma, using blight powers while our stray dog distracts enemies. Previews show a beautiful mix of Sekiro-like combat and environmental storytelling. We'll see if the dog AI is actually smart enough to avoid getting stuck on walls, but the sheer artistic departure is astonishing. It proves they can design more than just new elemental rodents. If you're looking for pure ARPG loot grinding, this long-awaited expansion actually just unleashed on July 23rd. Crate Entertainment expanded the game world by a massive 32%, introduced the Snowy Kern tribes, and finally added the shape-shifting Berserker mastery. They also brought an Ascendant game mode specifically designed to completely crush veteran egos. The engine is definitely showing its age, and inventory management remains the true final boss, but the build diversity here is the undisputed gold standard.
It's time.
Let's slow down with a massive incoming hit of JRPG royalty. This legendary title is getting a highly anticipated modern re-release. For new players, this is where the story actually goes completely off the rails in the best way possible. The world building remains meticulous. Yes, the pacing is a notorious slow burn demanding patience, and the classic orbment system practically requires a spreadsheet to optimize. However, we already know the emotional payoff makes it a timeless masterpiece worth experiencing again on modern hardware.
Japan has endured 1,000 wars, and now
Trading Roman legions for katanas, developers plan to throw us into feudal Japan with deep turn-based squad combat and heavy narrative choices. Managing your camp and avoiding dysentery looks just as important as flanking enemies on the grid. Early impressions suggest voice acting can be hit or miss, and brutal RNG dice rolls will definitely test your monitor's durability. Still, the historical authenticity and branching storylines, they are pitching offer insane replayability for anyone who loves getting lost in the tactical weeds.
as strangers. You may leave as ghosts.
The King returns September 4th. Thankfully, Capcom isn't chasing the Souls-like trend. Trailers confirm this is pure, deliberate cinematic action. We'll play as a Musashi lookalike, using the break-isen move to instantly execute demons with a gory crunch. Deflecting attacks to steer enemies into walls looks incredibly slick in preview footage. The linear structure might feel old school compared to massive open-world epics, but the tight pacing and gorgeous visuals make this look like the highly focused action RPG revival we desperately needed. Deploying August 27, we're bringing turn-based tactics to the Clone Wars. Developed by ex-XCOM devs at BitReactor, we'll lead a squad of misfits through gorgeous top-down battlefields. Devs outlined a time-limited cycle mechanic between missions that should add fantastic strategic pressure. Missing a 95% blaster shot on a battle droid will absolutely induce classic XCOM PTSD on launch day, but the cinematic camera angles and deep class synergies make this look like the tactical Star Wars game we've waited decades for.
What? The witch is escaping!
This behemoth is finally heading towards its massive 1.0 release late this year. If the original skill tree looked like a galaxy map, wait until you get your hands on these new class synergies and the fully overhauled combat engine. The devs promise boss fights will be more punishing than ever, forcing actual mechanic engagement. The learning curve will undoubtedly be a vertical cliff, and we'll probably still need 3 third-party websites just to craft boots, but the sheer ambition here is unmatched. Scheduled to leave early access for its full 1.0 release in October, this blend of breathtaking painterly art with crushing stamina-based combat is shaping up beautifully. Based on early access, every claymore swing feels devastating. Town rebuilding features add a shockingly cozy layer to the brutal difficulty loop, while punishing platforming sections can feel frustrating with the isometric perspective. Blending a cozy life sim with Dark Souls combat looks like it will result in a masterpiece that demands your undivided attention. Releasing September 3rd, this dark fantasy dream comes from former Witcher 3 devs. You'll play as Cohen, human by day and vampire by night in 14th century Europe. Developers revealed a fascinating 30-day window where every quest advances time, forcing agonizing choices about who to save. Juggling distinct daytime and nighttime gameplay loops might risk feeling clunky at first, but the reactive, consequence-heavy open world they are building in Unreal Engine 5 looks phenomenal. It's an incredibly ambitious upcoming narrative RPG.
An interesting fellow, this one.